think you should. Whatever it is, I support it 100%.
All right, let's do it. All right, everybody, welcome. Unscripted. It's just Dave and I and Brian Alvarez. Just kidding. That's not the real Brian Alvarez. I got clips, and I tried to prepare the best I can since we have a kind of a skeleton crew this week. All the other guys had pressing issues they had to take care of, so it's just Dave and I here. There's not a lot. Well, okay, I take that back. There's a shitload of wrestling going on this weekend. An uncomfortable amount of wrestling. We have, we're going to get into all of it too. We're recording this on a Friday night. It airs on Saturday. So by the time you hear this, TNA, what did I say? Under Siege already took place. That's on Friday. And then on Saturday, we have Saturday night's main event. And then on Sunday, we have AEW Double or Nothing, and we have NXT Battleground. So we have a shitload of stuff going on this Memorial Day weekend. And then Monday, of course, we have Raw. So we do not get a day to rest. We have balls to the wall wrestling this week. But just Dave and I are.
That doesn't even count the craziness that's happened this week in wrestling in general. Well, just venue changes and people talking some massive shit and Stephanie McCure breaking the internet. All this stuff is happening.
Well, the big one
it's crazy.
Is we do have this first clip here is about this change. So WWE already announced that WrestleMania next year, WrestleMania 42, was going to be in New Orleans, right? They did. They officially announced it. It was all in the books. It was ready to rock and roll. And then all of a sudden, we get this announcement, and yesterday being Thursday, because we're recording this on Friday, we get this announcement that they are not going to bring it to New Orleans. Then nobody really knew. Then there was this weird article put out identifying an unnamed source. That it was somebody outbid them, so they're going to go with the highest bidder. Then it broke. Then people started speculating for 24 hours that it's going to be somewhere in Mexico in one of the soccer stadiums, which could hold like 100,000 to 120,000 seats, because they just bought AAA, so they want to go just balls to the wall. Apparently, that's my phrase this week is balls to the wall, so I'm going to use it often. They want to go, all in on. This whole purchase of AAA, so why not have WrestleMania in Mexico in 2026? Then it was talked that no, it's going to be in the UK because John Cena came out a year or so ago, and when they did a UK pay-per-view and said, wouldn't it be great if we came to this place down the street, which is Wembley, and we had WrestleMania, and everyone goes, yes, that's the best ever idea you've ever had, and so they were like excited about that. Then what was the third venue? Saudi. Everybody was like, oh, you better not go to Saudi. Like, that was a big thing, too, because if New Orleans got outbid, there's only one place that would have the money to throw at them. It's the dirty Saudi money. But no, because they're already having the Royal Rumble at Saudi. So they wouldn't have WrestleMania the same year.
That sounds stable.
Then it came out, and I don't know if it's official. You can correct me if I'm wrong. We are in Vegas, right? We're going back to Vegas for WrestleMania 42?
Several unnamed sources, and there are now people that are writing articles that are pretty damn sure that it's going to be in Vegas back to back. Yeah.
So I'm going to play here. This is from the Wrestling Observer. We don't support them. We don't, Brian Alvarez happens to be our best friend because he did a cameo for us on our 300th episode, which was very funny. And he made fun of our name and it was very funny. And he misspoke and called Cuz Cruz, which I love it. So I
call him Cruz to this day because of it now. I love it.
There's tons of sites and stuff that were covering this or whatever, but this is just one take.
A lot of confusion about this WrestleMania thing. Someone here on the chat goes, "What? It's not confirmed?" Well, here's the thing. This seems like a really simple story, but it is a very weird story. So the simple story seems to be, well, they announced New Orleans. They were offered a better deal, and so they switched. That seems like the easy story.
If I'm going to interrupt it for a second here.
Please.
I think
perfect.
I think at the root of everything that is what's going to end up being happening. And whether we find out that somebody outbid them or not, they obviously went somewhere else because they got a better bid. A lot of people are shitting on WWE already right now and saying, oh, not a good look for them. What if New Orleans didn't kind of come through? And I have another video to play too, so you and I are going to speculate. But there's an official video that Triple H put out that I'm going to play here too, right after this video. And then we can put this debate to rest. I think something fell through with the dates, possibly. This is just my guess. Something fell through with the dates. So anyway.
But it is not that simple.
It's not.
Because right now, it appears next year's WrestleMania is going to be in Las Vegas again, and not in New Orleans. But what is weird about this story is that it leaked yesterday that WrestleMania was no longer in New Orleans.
I do like the way he said leaked, because he's a dirty little shit snake. And they love it, because the leaks is what keeps all the wrestling observers and all the other dirt sheets in business.
So in business.
The way he said leaked, he was like, leakedy. It's like, yeah, fucking loved it,
Enchanté.
You love that.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if you listen to the show yesterday, I talked about 3 rumored locations. And this was from talking to a lot of people, and this was also people within WWE. Because no one knew at that point. They only knew it was no longer New Orleans. So the rumored locations were Saudi Arabia and Mexico and London. And the reason for all of these, well, there were a lot of reasons. Obviously, the Saudi Arabia reason was people figured, well, it's got to be moving to Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia can pay enough money to make it worth their while to pull out of New Orleans. Well, the problem with Saudi Arabia is they're already doing the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. Right. So that would look like a distant third. There was also Mexico.
I stole all that in my introduction from Brian Alvarez, so I don't want everyone to think that I'm the one that predicted it and he's ripping me off. I mean, obviously I pre-watched this video before. Anyway, sorry.
And I thought, okay, well, Mexico is a possibility because, hey, they just bought AAA. They want to move full bore into Mexico. There's Aztec Stadium, which just would be the biggest WrestleMania of all time if they went to Aztec Stadium. As far as attendance, they can put like 125,000 people in there. So I thought the timing, maybe that's what happened. They're going to Mexico. Others thought that as well. And the third option was London, which would be an attempt to, put one over on AEW. Go in there, probably run Wembley.
You pause that real quick, by the way. They don't care about that. WWE
they don't. It's so funny when he said that. I thought the same thing. I was like, listen, that might be like a small perk that happens, but really, they haven't been to England for a big event like that since SummerSlam. As far as like a stadium show. SummerSlam was in Wembley, and that was 1992. Even if AEW never ran that building, I guarantee you Wembley will be on their radar for a future WrestleMania.
And by the way, there's been a lot of punching up lately by AEW, and they're responding. Like they're talking, like you've heard Logan's gonna Mr. Beast in 2 years for the main event at WrestleMania. That's the direction they're going. Like AEW, like their wrestlers are talking about.
I don't know how wrong. I don't know how wrong that is. Like I'm not saying that that's going to be the actual main event, but I mean WWE is not beneath doing that. Look at Logan Paul. Look at the run he had.
They said that the people have made it very clear that WWE is not a wrestling company. It's a multimedia company.
It's an entertainment company. It's a fucking.
I understand that. But my point is like WWE has no interest in sticking it to AEW. They don't care. All they care about is their best interest. But to your point, it would be a nice little trounce them along the way, but they're not like Vince might have thought about that here and there, like I need to kill it, but like dude, this nuance of WWE does not give a shit. I don't think that Triple H is interested in being the only game in town. I think Vince was, because Vince was comfortable with that for a while, but I think that Triple H knows the value of he's partnering with TNA and they have NXT and all that stuff. Dude, he just got back 2 major talents from AEW that they lost because they had to lose them so they can go and freshen up. Rusev is fantastic, by the way. I don't know what he's going to do, but they're going to pump him up. We'll see what happens.
I don't know if he'll be any more successful than he was the first time around, but whatever. But
it's to your point, it brings about the same kind of thing. You let someone go somewhere else for another territory for 6 months to a year, and they come back and they're fresh and they're hot again. And Rusev's hot again in WWE for now.
Look at
that's
Penta,
how it used to work.
Look at Penta. Look at Phoenix. Look at fucking Miro. Look at Aleister Black. Like it's all relevant.
Yes, Aleister Black was the other one. Like it works, and then you just released a bunch of people. You can go get more people in the AEW. You could set up TNA. They're already doing it with TNA. So it's like, to your point, Triple H doesn't want them to die. Get all that, and Triple H and WWE have no interest in and slamming it to AEW. They don't care. They just don't care.
If it happens as a part of what they're doing, if it happens as a coincidence, sounds good. But like, it's not something that they are sitting in the boardroom and they're like, "How can we get Tony?" Like they don't.
How do we doing the diesel vest? Yeah. How can we get them
with the lights off and just the one light shining on their face so they're all spooky? Like, no, nobody fucking cares.
Sell more tickets. Nobody cares. Tickets would be significantly more expensive. Enormous gate.
They will sell more.
London
tickets,
has been wanting the show for a long time. Everyone's been talking about London. So those were like the three that everybody was talking about. Is it's probably going to be moving to one of those places. Well, then, shortly after the show ended, it came out that no, they're trying to run Las Vegas again.
So, yeah, that's...
So, the other thing I wonder about, and this is pure speculation, Jess, is Vegas must have really enjoyed what wrestling brought to the city for that week, almost 2 weeks. It must have been huge for them to even consider it. And they had to basically say like, "Hey, this is a big deal. We would love to have you back."
I think it was.
Obviously worked very quickly.
I do agree with that. I think that happened, and I think that and this could be wrong. Because you're going to see the video here, which kind of Triple H kind of tries to make everything right, and he still talks about New Orleans and the next pay-per-view. There is going to be a pay-per-view in 2026 in New Orleans, but it's not going to be WrestleMania. So I don't know if I think part of it was a date issue. I think maybe they wanted a certain weekend.
You're right.
They wanted a certain weekend in New Orleans on that, and they couldn't for some reason. I believe that it was something like that. And you're right. Maybe Vegas stepped in at the same time and said, well, if you're having fucking trouble, have it back-to-back. You had Trump Plaza 4 and 5. Let's do it. The second time at WrestleMania will ever be at the same venue 2 years in a row is about to happen. So it's pretty amazing. That hasn't been done since WrestleMania 4 and WrestleMania 5 when they had it at Trump Plaza. Right. This will be the third time because they had WrestleMania 9 in Vegas, and then they had WrestleMania 41 in Vegas, and now 42. So this is one of the very few times that it's been in 3. I think the only other venue that's held it 3 times is MSG. It held number 1, number 10, number 20. So this might be, I could be wrong. There might be.
Would have been the first to hold it 3 times if they were going to hold it next year.
Correct. Yeah. And Dallas, if Dallas holds it one more time, they'll have 3. So I think there's a lot of venues that are close to having it for 3, but Vegas will be, unless I'm missing a venue that's had it 3 times. So I don't think.
It won't be the same stadium, but it'll be Vegas. It'll be the same city.
Correct. Yeah. That's true. So yeah, technically it won't be like the same venue, but this is, this is an asterisk at the bottom of the thing. It'll be the third time that it's in Vegas, but the first time it's in the outdoor.
I would take this over the Superdome any day of the week in comparison. Good God.
I didn't think
thing's terrible.
You could say what you want about the creative of WrestleMania 41, but I thought the venue looked great. The crowd was great. It's indoors. I am not a fan of outdoor WrestleManias because you're just a victim. You're a victim of the elements at that point. They've had great luck and they've had not so great luck. Night 1 of WrestleMania 40, cold as shit, man. People were not energetic and they were very cold. And and then night 2 it got warmer, so people were more.
When they were talking about having it in Philly, I already was like. And by the way, no respect to Philly and Philly fans, I know they bring it, but that's hard. That's hard. That time of year.
Eagles straight up. I have no problem saying that.
I'm just glad they beat the Chiefs, but we're strained.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so this is Triple H. This came out today, so this probably quells some of it. A lot of people are calling this a PR spin and damage control and all that stuff, not the group. But here we go.
Hey, it's the game, Triple H. I'm sure everyone saw our joint statement yesterday regarding the shift in some of the dates on the WWE calendar. Well, today I want to announce to you the first of those, one of which we're very excited about. Coming to New Orleans on Saturday, August 29th, 2026, will be Money in the Bank.
So, real quick, to go off that means SummerSlam is not in August anymore. SummerSlam could be. SummerSlam could be the first week of August, and then Money in the Bank could be last. Money in the Bank's usually in June, right? It's always been, because it's coming up in 2 weeks now. So they're changing the full-on calendar. Money in the Bank is in at the end of August, which actually just changed that implication of that briefcase. So you push that briefcase back later in the year, and you have less time before WrestleMania to cash it in or whatever. So I think that's kind of like, that might be a different creative and a positive thing. And I'm interested now to see where SummerSlam's going to fall. Maybe SummerSlam goes back to July.
If you get a full year to cash it in, you don't have to cash in at WrestleMania, so maybe it doesn't have to push hard to WrestleMania.
The funny thing about SummerSlam, right? When we were growing up with SummerSlam, it was always like right around Labor Day weekend, which is kind of almost the end of summer, even though August is still summer and fall doesn't begin until September. But I mean, it's like we all went back to school like right after SummerSlam. I remember when we were kids. So maybe SummerSlam will actually be in the middle of summer, which is July. So maybe that's what they're going to do. So already an interesting thing.
Money in the Bank is one of our biggest events of the year with high stakes, amazing drama, and the chance of a lifetime for two WWE superstars to walk away with the coveted Money in the Bank briefcase. We can't wait, and we look forward to seeing you there. Stay tuned for more details on a WrestleMania coming to New Orleans, which will be announced at a later date. I want to say a big thank you to our great local partners from both the state and the city, as well as the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, New Orleans & Company, and the city's first-class convention center for their continued support as our major live event calendar in New Orleans continues to expand and evolve. So that just leaves one question. Where's WrestleMania? Are you ready?
Shut up. Not you. Shut up. That's enough out of you. So there it is.
So they didn't even address Mania where it's actually going to be officially.
Well, I mean, I think maybe it is official that it's going to be in Vegas. I don't know, because it's so I can't even log on to any of my fucking sites anymore, like my Instagram handle.
Yeah, it's just loaded.
All these fucking podcasts and shit just fucking showering it with WrestleMania not in New Orleans or WWE. It depends on what site it is. If it's an anti-WWE site, it's WWE fumbles the ball, loses New Orleans. I'm like, they didn't lose anything. Trust me. If you haven't learned anything from TKO, there's no way that someone who streams live from their mother's basement is going to understand or know the type of business move that a company like TKO, a billion-dollar company, by the way, like they're seeing shit 5-10 years ahead. When they signed that Netflix deal, WWE, by the way, they're looking 10 years ahead, bro. Like, there's no fucking way that any of us know the business maneuvers of someone in TKO and someone of that stature. It's not possible, especially Johnny Underwear hanging out of my drawer in the background going, oh, looks like they're in big trouble. Yeah, they're in so much trouble. They're going back to WrestleMania in Vegas where they broke records, motherfucker. And guess what? They're probably not going to have it on Easter weekend next year, so more people will be willing to travel out, and instead of putting 60-something thousand in those venues, they're going to hit over 70. Like, so it's like they're going to increase the attendance next year. Like, there's no people that have never fucking ran a car wash, let alone a fucking wrestling multi-million-dollar entertainment industry, like are going like, this isn't a good look. I'm like, you know what's not a good look? Your backdrop is not a good look. That's not a good look. You being 21 years old and thinking that you could fucking tell TKO that they're making bad business moves. Like, give me a break, bro. They only do moves that make money for that company.
I mean, I'll make a prediction with the underwear hanging out my stuff behind me right now, even though it's
predictions are fine, Dave. It's just this.
Yeah, but I'll make one. I will say that WWE is going to have a major problem if they keep charging what they're charging. Because eventually, if the casuals fall out, I mean, and that's a bigger question than ever, by the way.
No, we're in that now. It's happening.
You're going to have a down slot, and you're not going to sell out, and you're going to start hitting numbers that you don't like. You're not going to break records. And then you're going to be like, oh, what did we do wrong? I know charge too much. You just charge too much money.
When you treat your consumers like shit, they will eventually like turn on you. And it's already happening now. And listen, I like the direction that Triple H is doing. It's really funny how all of these fucking like I'm going to play another video later too of just a couple of washed up people that have no fucking business like talking about. And they were in the industry. I wasn't in the industry, but we're fans. We Dave, your introduction into our regular topical episodes is we don't have any inside sources. We have no ties to the industry. We're just fans, right? So I have always taken solace in the fact that we state our opinion every week because we're just fans. We've never ran a company before. We've been to wrestling school fucking twice. And by twice, I mean literally 2 days. Like, that's it. Not 2 times in our life and then we just gave up and then started again. Just 2 fucking days. So that's the only like introduction we ever had to behind the scenes. Like, so we've never claimed to be that. But you have a lot of these washed up dilly donks that like get on there, and guess what happens? It happened in the Attitude Era. It's happening now. When wrestling goes through boom periods, you get more radio shows, more podcasts of these mid-card people that are like, "Oh, my name's Disco Inferno.
Living off the WWE teat, my friend.
My name's Conan. My name's Disco Inferno. My name's the Bully Ray. My name's fucking, and they just do all that. My name's Vince Russo and Coach. Like, you have all these people that are just like, I used to work there, so I know what's going on. It's like, you don't. Like, you really think
it's not even the same.
You really think that you know what decisions TKO is making? You think you're better than them? You think that you could run a multi-billion-dollar company, bro? Your podcast gets like 5,000 hits. Bro. Good job, bro. You hit 5,000 this week, bro. 10K.
We're gonna start a new title, bro.
I know we have no hits, but we have no name that we're trying to milk like a fucking snake oil salesman. Like, so it's like we just come out here and we do our thing. So that's the big thing.
This is how we hang out.
Yeah, this is fucking. But yeah, I would like to also go into this weekend, which is really fucking busy. Like I was talking about earlier with professional wrestling, and we are going to start with TNA Under Siege. That actually, by the time this airs, that happened on Friday, which is when we're recording. So I don't know the results yet, but we do have in the main event, we have Trick Williams, who will be on TNA Under Siege, and Frankie Kazarian. They're going to take on Joe Hendry and Elijah. Walk with Elias, whoever you want to say he is. That's a featured match on Under Siege. We have a really stout undercard. We see fucking Dolph Ziggler there, Hardy's there. We have so much to cover. Forgive me for not going to everything individually. But this is a really strong card. TNA is a fucking fun promotion. It legitly is. And I don't have time to watch it that much. I should watch it more. I used to be a really big TNA fan in the 2000s because I'm a big fan of an alternative brand of pro wrestling. So you should watch TNA. And the partnership with NXT/WWE is only going to help this company grow. And right now, we have Trick Williams on a TNA pay-per-view, and then I'm going to get to the NXT show. But this is going to be for Friday, and like I said, as you're watching this, it's already over. Then we move on to Saturday, and where do I have it here? We have Saturday night's main event, Dave. We have Mr. Yeet himself defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Paul Logan on Saturday night's main event. We have Jonathan Cena for the Undisputed Championship taking on R-Truth. We have CM Punk, who joins forces with Sami Zayn, and they take on Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. And then we have Damian Priest and Drew of the McIntyre, the uncrowned heavyweight champion, the greatest wrestler in the world, taking on Damian Priest in a steel cage match. Pretty fucking cool Saturday night's main event, I would say.
Oh, no world title defense, right?
Yeah, no, two world title defenses.
Right. I thought Cena and Truth was non-title.
No, it says for the undisputed title, and then Jey Uso is defending the
television. Oh, it does.
Yeah, and then Jey Uso is defending the television title against Logan Paul.
That's right, Logan Paul. You said Paul Logan. I forgot.
Sorry, did I fuck up?
My God. No, you said Paul Logan. I thought you were making a funny.
Well, I'll go with that and say I was.
Well, we know those aren't real.
Yeah.
It's just an SMNE,
so then the next here.
But yeah, no. How many total matches was that, Jess? Was that more than 5?
4. It was 4.
6.
But Saturday night's main event, it's 4. But Saturday night's main event's only 2 hours.
Okay, that's the other thing I got to pick on a little bit. Not for SNME, but like just in general, we need more than 5 matches for WWE PLE.
Well,
please.
This isn't a Saturday night main event. It's not a PLE. To correct you, and it's only 2.
I understand. No, that's what I said. This is only SMNE. Yeah. This doesn't count. But we need We need more than 4 matches
for like
appealing.
for all that stuff. Absolutely, I agree. But it's only 2 hours long. Saturday Night's Main Event, so Saturday Night's Main Event is not 3 hours. So that's good too.
Then they're gonna cram that in, bro. Holy shnikes.
We move into Sunday. We move into Double or Nothing from Glendale, Arizona. They are going to have about 8,000 people in the venue. That's pretty much filling that setup for them, which is good. It's so fucking sad that I get in there and I'm just like, look.
Yes, sorry to interrupt. I'm still only seeing TNA Under Siege on the stream. I don't know if that's.
Let me refresh my setup here.
Apologize.
And a whoop. All right, there we go. Now, do you see a new one? Do you see the new one? The when? Oh shit! You froze. Damn it. Well, I'll move in. Technical difficulties. This is why I don't like Discord. We have Double or Nothing on Sunday from Glendale, Arizona, and we have 9 matches on this bloated bad boy. But AEW is known for doing that, putting 542 matches on a single card. But we have the Owen Hart Cup Finals. We have the men's tournament finals here. We have Will Ospreay against Hangman Page. We have the women's Owen Hart Cup Finals, Mercedes Moné against Jamie Hayter, AEW Women's Championship. We have Toni Storm defending her championship. We have the World Tag Team titles on the line, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy against the Hurt Syndicate. Very odd match, but I think it's going to be good. We have Anarchy in the Arena. That is going to take place as well. We also have the AEW Continental Championship match. We have a stretcher match. Jesus Christ. We have a trios match. We have the buy-in battle royal. We have all kinds of stuff going on here. 1 or 2 of those might be on the 1 or 2 of those might be on the pre-show. Who knows? But ladies and gentlemen, AEW. And then we're going to end the weekend here with NXT Battleground. Also on Sunday as well from Tampa. We have Oba taking on Bourne. We have Vakir taking on Jordan Grace for the NXT Women's Championship, which will be possibly a match of the year candidate, if I'm being honest. We have Joe Hendry defending the TNA Championship on an NXT PLE against Trick Williams. Then we have Tony D'Angelo taking on Lorenzo. It's going to be another fantastic card from NXT. It always is. Just ask Cruz or Cuz, whatever you want to call him. But in all honesty, NXT is fucking fantastic, and it's going to be a great show. So that's what we have for this weekend as far as wrestling is concerned. Hopefully I can get Dave back on here. And we're going to be good because I do have another video I want to play of a couple of washed up people that, I know I'm being a little harsh, right? I'm being harsh saying washed up, but what I always notice whenever wrestling is going through a boom period, right? And we were going through a boom period with the Bloodline storylines and the Cody story and all that stuff over the last couple of years. And now wrestling's cooling down a little bit. But by cooling down, I don't mean that we're going to go, like AEW, which unfortunately can only fill like fucking, 20% of an arena or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying we're going to go to 1995 WWF lows or anything like that. What I'm saying is, when wrestling goes through a boom period, these former wrestlers, former announcers, always come out of the woodwork, and I'm not saying that, mid-carders or curtain jerkers are not the best coaches, because we've all learned that. Dave, I covered the rest of the weekend or whatever. Thank you for joining us back.
That's awesome. Thanks for doing that.
Dave cleans pools. Those guns just, whoa, Dave should be on one of the...
You like those? Yeah.
Dave should be on one of the fucking pay-per-views this weekend. What are we doing here? Dave, you need to be fucking getting into wrestling.
But I believe in Joe Hendry, so if Joe Hendry wants to bring me on, let's go.
Hey, he's going to be on a double show. He was on TNA tonight, and he's going to be on Battleground on Sunday. So TNA or Joe Hendry doing double duty. So what I was talking about is every time we go through a boom period, there's a lot of mid-carders or people that, especially in today's day and age in 2025, and really for the last 10 years, podcasting has been really growing and getting an audience. It really started, I know that there's a lot of really old school podcasts like Jim Cornette and other podcasts that have been around for a while. But when the Conrad Thompson group of podcasts kind of came around, started with Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, Blanchard, went into Tony Schiavone, went into Eric Bischoff, went into Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett, and Arn Anderson, and all that other stuff. Now everybody does it. I mean, we got inspired. In 2019, we started O.W.P. because we're like, fuck, well, if everyone's doing it, why not us? And so we started that too. But now you get the creepy creepies that hang around after when a wrestling. So we went through a boom period. We had the Bloodline storyline, one of the greatest, if not the greatest storyline in wrestling history. We had Cody Rhodes' story that was parallel with it, and they ended up merging together to form Voltron and kind of conclude. And now, just like after the Mega Powers, or the Andre the Giant Hogan feud into the Mega Powers, and after that, you get to a period where you just can't top it anymore. They're going to stop breaking records at some point. You can't keep beating LY ever. We've worked retail, we've been in sales and all that stuff or whatever. When you're enjoying it, you enjoy it. But you do know that as downturn, and I'm not saying how deep the downturn is going to be. I'm not suggesting we're going to go to WWF, WCW 1995 level. I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying that, unfortunately for AEW, I'm going to use them as a joke right now. We're not even going to AEW level.
You can't break records forever. You can't continue to break records.
And the WWE machine has become such a thing where the bottom is never as deep as it used to be. And I think that even more so now with TKO and the steps that they're making to have longevity, sign multi-year deals with Netflix that are worth billions with a global work, a global face. They're a global entertainment network. They're a television studio. They're everything you want them to be. I don't see that, but let's not forget, in 2018 and 2019, they were tarping off half the arena for SmackDown tapings. They were tarping off half the arena for Raw. They just were. And people forget that. And that was during the Vince era. That was when Vince pretty much was time to go. And then a couple years later, everything changed. But we are in again, downturn sounds so bad, but it's not. But we are in a downturn a little bit. People are getting irritated. My opinion, the John Cena heel turn is boring. Sorry. It is. And it's not doing what the Bloodline did for the company. It's not doing what the Judgment Day with Dom and Rhea did. It's not doing any of that. And that's okay, because it's how you handle that down descent after a big storyline. And I think that WWE is just structured that way. There's a lot of hate now for Triple H that I've been noticing since WrestleMania, really. People are just shitting all over him, which is hilarious because
people have been waiting to do that. If we're being
exactly,
honest.
That's actually probably the best phrase to say. And Vince never had down years. Give me a fucking break.
Oh my God,
man. Jesus Christ, It's so funny when I hear these people talk, and when I hear these two, washed up people that I'm going to play right now talk.
How did these two even find each other? Jesus, what are we doing?
Garbage finds garbage. And you know what? And I don't want to shit on Jonathan Coachman, because as an announcer, he was fun. And, he stood there while The Rock dressed him down, and that was the whole gimmick for a while and all the ha. And then
maybe he's mad.
He's got a great career. He's been on ESPN. He's a good sports analyst. He's really good, coaches, when it comes to that. But it's funny. They talk about, they talk about in this clip leaning to your strengths and covering up your weaknesses. And I think that you two gentlemen should take that advice, because you guys both need to. And Vince Russo, your strength, motherfucker.
And by the way, I before you play it, I can see this gentleman here paid $10 just to put his comment to these guys. Is that what
they're
I'm saying?
getting $10, Dave? We're getting no dollars for doing this public service. So let me play this shit.
Perspective says Triple H did his thing as a wrestler, but he should not be in the position he's in. He is overseeing the least creative era in WWE's history.
First of all, what the fuck? Just right out of the beginning, he shouldn't be in the position he's in. Excuse me, who are you? I mean, I know you just donated $10 to a worthless cause, by the way. You threw $10 into a bonfire. Is what you just did. You threw, you should have just taken out your $10 bill and pissed on it. You should have pissed on it.
Technically, it's fine. The last guy paid 10, but to your point,
got it right.
You're never going to see a return on this investment.
You should have taken that $5 bill. You should have pissed on it. You should shake it off, roll it up, shove it up your ass, shit it out, and then you should just flush it down the toilet. That's what you should do, and because that's what you're doing. So why the fuck These guys are getting fucking $5. What the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ. Because they're so smart. These guys are so smart and their opinion's so good that they can't finance their own show on their own. They have to borrow money from the fans. Like so many other fucking podcasts do that don't have a right to be on the air. We do this for fun, so we make sure we don't have any expenses and we don't have any overhead. But these fucking clowns like have to get money from panhandling and saying this shit. Anyway, sorry. So already this fan, whoever this fan is one of the most ignorant fans, and you're the
I want to see the response though. It's
gonna be great.
I think he brings up a good point there, Vince.
He does.
Is that in this? I was in the room when Triple H went from wearing the blue jean jacket and the blue jeans and all of that, and he walked in one day in a 3-piece suit and tie and a briefcase. And we're like, what the hell is this? And that was the day that he made a concerted effort to show this is what I want my future to be.
Dave, you see, Dave. Jonathan Coachman worked for WWE, so this qualifies him to be an expert on booking and character development and all this other stuff. Like this makes him an expert because, again, he had a couple funny segments with The Rock. And remember that time when Kane's pyro went off and the Coach fell backwards in his chair? Oh, man. So this qualifies Coach to run a fucking multi-billion-dollar wrestling company. But I digress.
The thing that bothers me about the whole thing is like if you want to change your trajectory and this is what it requires, what is that? Why does that matter? And two, we didn't give enough time to say everything, but two, why does that make him not capable of doing this? Because everything that we've seen by the realm of storyline has been on point.
They forget that like the bloodline. I know people don't like to give Triple H credit for the bloodline, you see, because Paul Heyman is involved in it, and it technically started under Vince. So I understand that on a technical standpoint, but Triple H still had a lot to say in it, like after a while, and I'm sure. And again,
you want to know what Triple H had to do with it? That was big, is he didn't kill it in 3 months.
Who I wonder, Dave. I'm having a hard time here. I wonder who helped, develop Dom and Rhea and all that other stuff. Oh yeah, Triple H probably.
Really Damian Priest.
Yeah. All the other people.
Giving Finn a major platform.
Oh my gosh. Giving Drew McIntyre a platform to turn heel and figure out, bringing CM Punk back. Yeah. Right. Anyway, so Triple H shouldn't be in this position. Let's just we need to shut up, Dave, and listen to the experts here.
But a wrestler's mentality, Vince, is how do I get myself over? That's where they start. They begin and end with that. Yeah. So when you have the wrestler's mentality and then you put him in charge of creative, we saw WrestleMania, it was all me, but he's head of creative. I can't even imagine Vince doing any of the stuff he did at WrestleMania.
Yeah, pause that. Okay.
Okay, yes, he did go in the Hall of Fame.
There's some truth to that.
I don't have the strength. Go ahead. I don't have this.
Well, Vince would not make it about him in that respect. He would not have done that. Vince would never want to go in the Hall of Fame. I understand that. But you know what? You got to put Triple H in eventually, right?
Right.
It's just there's no way he's not going as an individual, and it happened. Yeah, that sucks, and it overshadowed WrestleMania. But the thing that he's leaving out is like the last 2 years before that,
right?
That he had direct involvement with. He just skipped to the end and is talking about what happened 3 weeks ago.
WrestleMania 39 and 40 are considered one of the greatest WrestleManias ever. And I know Vince wasn't totally kicked out of WrestleMania 39, but Triple H was really in control at that point. Vince was on the sideline at that point. So, and then WrestleMania 40 was all Triple H and The Rock and Paul Heyman and the culmination of the Bloodline storyline.
And again, it's not like it's not like Vince didn't have any writers. Okay, right. So give me a break. Yeah, or other people helping him out. So I don't want to hear that either. Yeah.
And Sorry, I read something as well. I won't bring it up on my phone. But Coach also said that he knows someone who's still close to Vince, and that Vince is furious, and Vince doesn't like the current product that's going on, and him and Triple H haven't talked since the board voted him out.
That's probably 100% true, and all of that's true because Vince can't handle it, and Vince doesn't like what's happening because he's not involved.
Right?
Like that's not news to anybody. Also,
that's not. Vince was done.
I'm not surprised by any of that.
Vince had the worst. He's been out of touch. He was done, bro. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Triple H fails in the long run or not. You think that Vince is qualified? Vince showed for the last 7 years before he got booted out that he was not capable of doing it anymore.
He's the Al Davis of wrestling.
Yeah.
I said it forever.
He made great business decisions, and Vince has always been pretty good at that. But creative, it just passed him by. The business passed him by. This vitriol hate from Triple H, especially from two washed up motherfuckers like this, as far as wrestling is concerned. Like, what the fuck did he ever do to you? Like, it's really weird to me.
He could have done a lot to them.
Yeah, maybe you're right. That's a good point. We're fair
because Triple H was pretty fucking ruthless. That's a good point. As a wrestler to get over. He might have hurt Coach and Vince and Russo really bad. He might have really hurt.
Which would be funny because that's why they're all butthurt now. But okay, I pull my comment back.
I would love to see it. I would love to tell me that story, guys. Tell me how you got hurt. Yeah. And I'll listen all day, and I'll be like, okay, I get it. I understand. But they're not gonna tell you how they were hurt. They won't. They're too proud.
Maybe he needs to take a step back, but I don't know if he would ever listen to anybody in that capacity anyway.
Coach, I got to tell you, and this is a true story. Before Hogan and Bischoff came into TNA, Dixie Carter offered me this contract for a lot more money that would have been above and beyond me just being creative. A lot more money. And I said to her, no, this isn't what I do. I'm not good at managing people. I don't want to be anybody's boss. I don't want to oversee areas where I don't have expertise. I am a writer. I am a producer.
You shouldn't be in wrestling
at all because
you don't have the talent for it.
Not only did I turn down the contract and turn down the money, she got hot at me, and that's how Bischoff and Hogan were hired. But
okay, right. I got to stop it right there. So you're telling me right now that Dixie Carter was like, Russo, you're the guy I fucking want. If you don't say yes, I'm going to have to go to Hogan and Bischoff. Now, I know Hogan and Bischoff did more damage than anybody else ever did. So please, I am not defending Hogan and Bischoff. But to suggest that Russo was Dixie's number one to get TNA to the next level, it's Vince Russo power, baby. And then when he said no, she's like, I'm so mad at you. I'm going to get Hulk and Bischoff. Like, bullshit. Already this story reeks of shit. Like, it's just fucking great. And way to turn it about himself. They're talking about Triple H, and this motherfucker has to go,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Guess what? It's all about me. Yeah, I'm like, what does this have to do with anything we were talking about? Like,
wasn't Coach's criticism about Triple H as he makes it about me? Like, and then this motherfucker's like, so let me tell you a story, bro, about my TNA experience with me, right? So I'm number one, Hogan and Bischoff up doodly-doo, number two, and blah, blah, Dixie gets mad. Fuck you. Fuck you, you were relevant for like 2 years, bro, and then you went to fucking WCW.
I was gonna say 2 minutes, but yeah.
Listen to any Vince Russo shoot interview, any Vince Russo book, I think he's made one, I think he has, any Vince Russo article or podcast, show me anything where Vince Russo ever says, you know what, I own a big part of that, it was kind of half my fault that failed. He never has said that ever in anything. If you listen to his story about leaving WWE, then you listen about his failure in WCW, then you listen about his failure in TNA, it's always somebody else. It's always somebody else. It's never Vince Russo is a fake and a phony and lived off his 2 or 3 year glory with Vince in the Attitude Era. And he wrote the end for Survivor Series 98. And I swerved everybody, bro, when The Rock turned heel. Like, he's been living off that for fucking 20 plus years. This fucking joke of a man, like, nobody should ever listen to a goddamn thing Vince Russo says, unless he's telling a joke and you find it legitly funny, and that's fine. It's okay to laugh. But other than that, this fucking guy I got to give it to him, bro. I got to give it to him. He has milked that name, that 3-year fame that he had, went from 97 to 99/2000 when he was kind of relevant in the wrestling industry. He has done a fucking great job at milking that.
He's the fucking Elon Musk of the wrestling industry.
He's fucking just a fucking... Anyway, go ahead.
But,
here we go.
Guys, I'm telling you, in any walk of life, please take this advice from me. Bro, at your birth, you were given strengths and weaknesses. Bro. And as your life goes on, man, you know what those strengths and weaknesses are. God Almighty gave you those strengths and weaknesses.
Is he talking to himself?
Who the fuck?
But
who listens to this shit?
But is he talking to himself? Like, this is advice he should listen to.
You're born with strengths and weaknesses, which means you can never overcome them. I don't understand.
Correct.
Like, what are we talking about? So you can't ever get better. So you're telling me that we're in the caste system and we could never get better.
Do you know what?
That's cool.
Do you know what his weaknesses
American
are?
dream.
His weaknesses are not being good at anything. His strength is deflecting and blaming other people for every one of his failures. That's what Vince Russo. So if we want to talk about that, I think that's Russo's strength, is blaming everybody else for his failures, and his, that's his weakness is sucking at everything.
I made $15 on the pod, bro.
Bro, you saw me just bring in $15, bro, within 2 minutes, bro. Bro? Triple H can't do anything and can't get anybody over. I just made $15, bro, in 2 minutes. Who the fuck?
$15.
Yeah, bro, your dollars. Come on, bro. Triple H is making $0 and I'm making 15, bro. Proof's in the pudding, bro. Here we go.
He hasn't even made.
When you start veering outside of your lane, and here's why you veer outside of your lane, coach, and here's why they do it in wrestling, for more power. The more hats I wear, the more power I have.
Wait a minute. But it's Vince Russo's motto. The more tchotchkes I have fucking behind me, this sea of fucking gimmicks like behind him, does that mean he's more famous? When he's got a Muppet, he's got a fucking dumb picture of him.
None of that made any coherent sense whatsoever.
It doesn't. But
he said because he did not want to go outside his lane. That's the reason why Hogan and Bischoff came in. And then you started talking about strengths and weaknesses. So your weakness was you were too weak to take the job on, so you let TNA die for like 5 years. I don't know where you're going. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're doing.
He made creative choices that fucked the company over. But then when Dixie's like, dude, you should just step up and own all of it. No, bro. I don't want to own anything that makes me look bad. I only want to claim things that I do good. Did you $15, bro? 15.
When you start veering away from what you do best, you're going to fail. And it's all going to catch up with you. And I think that's exactly where we are with Triple H.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I think that is very, very well said. And I listen to you say that, and I look at how I really made a shift in how I live in the last 18 months, but also professionally.
So
because
don't
we
ever
have
get better,
all of
Jess.
these
Don't
shows,
ever hold your craft.
PGA Tour, and I was so consumed with certain things, and now I'm just one foot in front of the other. I try to be a good leader, and I try to do what I'm good at, and that's being a great host and also building brands because of who I learned it from. And once I made that change in my head and stopped worrying about what everybody else is doing and just what we're doing here,
you're worried about what everybody else is doing.
So I love that advice.
Yeah. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing, but we'll critique what other people are doing.
I'm gonna close this channel.
But we're gonna critique what other people are doing.
That was some of the most silly shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
What are you talking about?
You could never get better at anything, so stick to what you know. That's why we're in a shitstorm that we're in.
So on the surface, that's not bad advice. But like, if you're gonna throw stones at a glass house, like, is that the phrase? Did I use the right phrase? I don't know anymore. If you're going to, if you're gonna throw,
he who throws stones should not own a glass house.
There we go. I knew I was onto something, Dave. I didn't make $15 for the podcast in the last 2 minutes, okay, bro? So the thing is like, these two washed up. And where's Coach get off, right? Coach worked for the WWE for like 10 to 13 years. I mean, he was on-screen talent. We know who Coach is or whatever. Not during the best years of WWE, by the way. So let's not get your dick out and start stroking it in front of everybody just yet. Like, if you're going to fucking get on there and act like, Coach is acting like he was head of creative. I was in the room when Triple H converted from wrestler to creative guy. Okay, whatever. Who cares? You happened to be in the fucking room. You were privileged to be in those production meetings if you were allowed in there. You were a fucking on-screen guy. You were there so The Rock could dress you down and make fun of you. And you had that funny meme. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but that funny meme that's going around right now where Kane's music hit and Coach pretended he was scared. He fell backwards in the chair. Woo, man. So anyway, So that's your contribution. And and again, you guys were talking about staying in your lane. Stay in your fucking lane. You don't know what it's like to run a multi-billion-dollar company. Do you know how much stress and how much Triple H has to juggle and develop?
By the way, Triple H is not doing that, by the way. That's what I keep trying to tell. I tell people, well, Triple H is running. I'm like, no, he's not. He's running creative, which is really important. I'm not trying to.
But it's not the multi-million. By the way, it's not changing venues. Triple H should not change the venue. That was a TKO decision.
He has no fucking say in that. Like he is head of creative, where he greenlights the stories, where he's getting multiple ideas from dozens of people all the time. So people need to they just need to calm the fuck down, number one. But two, like one thing that they're blatantly just ignoring or not understanding is that Triple H was good at storytelling as a wrestler.
Yes, he was.
By the way,
of course.
The Montreal Screwjob they still talk about today. You don't think Triple H?
By the way,
there's multiple people that said Triple H like brought that up and said we should do that. And I know that sounds bad, but that's something that will be talked about.
One little phrase. NXT Black and Gold. You know, you can say whatever you want.
Right.
Like, oh, he just hired a bunch of indie darlings or popular people from New Japan or whatever and brought them in. Awesome. How many times have we seen sports teams bring in dream team names and make a dream team and they haven't worked out because the coaching's not good or the chemistry wasn't there? Triple H
and Vince hated that, by the way, because it overshadowed what he was doing instead of being a development place, which it was a development place.
It didn't just overshadow; it exposed Vince for being behind the times and not being able to keep up with the Joneses as far 100%. As like what today's wrestling wants. So Triple H did all of NXT Black and Gold, and was despite Vince.
DX. You know,
when is I just don't.
Evolution. These are his ideas. I know it's not 100%, but he wanted to do these things. He brought these up. Like I want to work with Flair. I want to create a faction.
And by the way, he's the one that stepped forward. And yes, he did marry Stephanie. I get it. That low hanging fruit joke is always
okay. That's always a plus and advantage. Whatever. But get over it.
But the thing is like he put in the hours and the work, and he learned the system.
Yeah.
And he learned.
By the way. Where's Stephanie now in the company and organization?
Yeah, she waves.
She's not really involved. She held a spot so her dad could attempt to get back on the board. Like that was her big play in the moment, and then she had to step down after that. I mean, and now she's doing Bump podcasts or what? I don't know, Stephanie's place or whatever. I don't know, which is great.
But on the surface, like. And no one really knows like what went on behind the scenes. We can speculate or whatever. And even Coach and Russo, especially Russo doesn't know shit. He's so far removed from the fucking business. He does a podcast and like fucking sells his name like fucking, you know, like it's just ridiculous. He's a good salesman, Russo, because he's a liar.
They watch everything, especially Russo, with disdain, and that's the problem. They don't keep an open mind into it, and that's
a lot of
places
are starting that now, you know. And he might have rubbed the people wrong as Triple H, the in-ring talent. Probably, definitely, he played politics. But see, I do believe that, like, when you saw the results of NXT Black and Gold, when you saw instantly when Vince got booted out, how better the product got once Triple H took it over, that's undeniable, man. And
I want to go back and make sure people understand we're not Triple H lovers at all when it comes to his career.
Like,
he's done some fucked up things. Like I'm still mad about Booker T not winning the fucking title at WrestleMania. I'm still mad about that. Like that made no fucking sense to me. Triple H did not need to win that match. Booker T needed to win it more than ever. And Booker said, well, I was still taken care of. I get it. But that was such a trajectory for him. He could have launched into a stratosphere. Like they could have had such a major face on their hands, and they fucking blew it. And I guarantee you, Triple H was the guy, like, I don't know if this is going to work out. I don't know if we can trust Booker T. I guarantee you that happened. So, look, I'm not trying to say, like, that he's an angel and he's perfect. If you're mad at Triple H, be mad about what he did to you. Don't be mad about what you think's happening. Don't be mad about... Like, I'm not trying to support, but what I'm trying to tell you is, like, I've seen what he's in charge of, and it has made money.
So if you're saying that Triple H is failing now, what are you saying that should be done? Vince should come back? Really? You want Vince back? No, you don't. You don't want Vince
even
back.
So, like, I don't know if he's going to listen to me, but I'm like, well, who's he supposed to listen to about creative?
Who was closer to Vince to take it over? Who else could run WWE? Nobody. So you want Triple H to get fired because you're mad that WrestleMania 41 wasn't booked the way you liked it. So
they have a whole major They have a whole major board with over a dozen members on the board on how TKO runs. It's run by multiple people now. You have some of these
little trash sites too saying it's chaos in WWE locker room right now. I'm like, really? Really? You think it's chaos? Like, do you know how to use words? Do you know like that?
I'm still mad about what's going on with Bayley because I don't know what's going on. But if there's a super like underground storyline that's gonna surface, I'm all for it. There's little things like that I'm like, hey,
that little piece of shit coach like also recently said too that if Bayley disappeared from TV tomorrow, she's washed up anyway. It doesn't matter. Has Bayley ever sold a ticket? Has Bayley ever sold a ticket? Was one of his actual phrases. Yeah,
she sold multiple tickets.
It's crazy.
She is a superstar.
Like I was telling you on the last Wrestling Boom period, every Wrestling Boom period, once you get past that big storyline that made it a boom period, which we're
here come the vultures.
Here come the fucking vultures and the Conans and the fucking discos and their podcasts.
The Conans.
Sorry, but they all.
He's the worst.
We used to be former wrestlers, so we could talk. Yeah, but you weren't former runners of multi-billion-dollar corporations, were you? Like, so I don't think that it was. And Conan, no matter what you think you did in Mexico or whatever, it doesn't fucking hold a candle to what these guys are doing now. I'm sorry. You might have sold out a lot of venues and been super fucking famous, and he was considered the Hulk Hogan of Mexico back in his day. I lived through that. I get it. But at the same time, like, you didn't run what Vince did or what everybody else did. So stop acting like you fucking know.
And at the same time, you're rolling Larry. It's the worst.
By the way, those eras crashed too. Those eras crashed and burned too. They went to their top and then they crashed in the bottom. And guess what people like Conan did? They fucking left and went to American wrestling and went to WCW. That's what they fucking did. So Conan and them had the out. They could pretend that they were a promoter and they knew the promoters and they helped book and they did all this. But the second shit got nasty, they were like, and I'm out. Real promoters like Vince rode shit down. Vince was on the balls of his ass in 1997. On the balls of his ass.
Living on the gate. He said it week to week.
Yeah. If I didn't have cash flow, we'd be done. Like, if I ever stopped the revenue, we'd be donezo. Like, there's no way I could pay the next paycheck. So
never more reliant on gate and house shows.
Fuck you, you fucking morons, you coaches, you fucking Vince Russos, you people who never fucking have ever ran your own like company like the way they did. Fuck off. Like, I'll even defend Bischoff. Bischoff might be the only one that has a little bit to say, even though some of his stuff, I'm like, you're a little ridiculous. Like, Bischoff also has a hard time of remembering his failures and what he did. But at least I'll say that if you listen to his podcast on a regular Bischoff, sometimes for Eric Bischoff, the narcissist that is Eric Bischoff, he will at least sometimes admit, yeah, I fucked up there. Like, and that was a bad step, like, but at the same, so I will give that to Bischoff. And it's why I'm a legit fan of Bischoff. I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but I'm a fan of him because I respect what he did. He's the only guy ever in America to beat Vince McMahon. Like, only guy ever. Nobody will ever do that again. Think about that for a minute. Now, it was a flash in the pan. It was like a 3-year span, and then went but at the same time, you can go back and look at those ups and downs and just state the obvious. This is what happened. They rose and they fell. But for these guys to be shitting on Triple H and saying they doesn't believe, and these fans, where the fuck are they getting this gall from as fans to be like, he shouldn't have this position? What? Were you saying this 2 years ago, by the way? Were you really saying this 2 years ago when the bloodline was fucking on fire? Were you saying that Triple H doesn't belong here? No, you weren't saying that. Were you saying that when Dom and Rhea was getting over? No, you weren't saying that. Trust me. 2 years ago, you guys were all like sucking it off. Like, you were doing what everybody else was doing. And then now all of a sudden when things don't go your way, or the right person doesn't win according to you, or it's not ran the way I think, how do you think? What do you mean? A multi-billion-dollar company's not ran the way you think? When's the last time you ran a multi-billion-dollar fucking company? Vince Russo, on your best day, you wrote a script for it. You didn't run it. You didn't do what Vince did. You didn't do what Pat Patterson did. You didn't do what any of them did. You were just right there in the room with them. That's all. Coach was in the room when Triple H came into three-piece. Yeah, and that's the end of your sentence. You did nothing else besides that.
I wasn't. No, I wasn't there. But what I will say, again, I'll make the predictions like, because we don't have any but opinions, but I'm telling you right now, if you don't put more matches on the Raws and the PLEs,
I agree with that.
You consume so much advert. I mean, the casuals will walk away. Like, we're seeing so much advert at this point, and you've sold every inch of the ring, which is quite interesting. If you go to SmackDown, because of all the conflicts, they can't sell the ring the same way. So SmackDown just says SmackDown on it or WWE on it. That's pretty much it. I find that fascinating because Raw has sold out to the demons, and every turnbuckle has a sellout somewhere. But
you're right.
If you don't stop fucking gutting the hog completely, like there's going to be nothing left, and people will walk away.
That is a fair assessment. If they were saying that, I would agree with them 100%. What you're doing is you're milking the cow a little too much. The cow's been dry for a while, and you're still trying to get. You're still trying to get juice out of dust, is basically what you're trying to do. And I get that. We're going to get to a point where that's what happens. They've priced their audience out. That is a fair criticism because I see that happening, and I think that's happening right now. But to say that he doesn't deserve that spot is weird. It's a really weird take. It's a really weird.
And by the way, he has and everything that I've mentioned as a criticism of it is not a criticism of Triple H right now. He doesn't have control.
You don't think that Vince would be milking the cow right now until it's dust? You don't? Think
that he would. Dude, he would have done it. He would have done it 20 times over. He would have done. So
the fact that they're blaming
we'd have one match. We'd have one match in like 5 episodes or 5 scenes in one match, and then.
And by the way, Triple H has to get more people over because the people that were part of the bloodline, Roman Reigns is going to be gone sooner than later. Like totally, he's ready to get out.
He's made it very clear.
Yeah.
2 to 3 years.
You got to get other people over. You have to start putting more people on. You got to get Tiffy over. You got to get Jey Uso more over. Maybe he won't work out, so we'll take the title off him.
I'd argue Jey. This is Jay's like final hurrah too. Those guys are leaving. To your point, it'll be the McIntyre's time. CM Punk won't have much time left. This is the last hurrah. Like
even McIntyre's getting up there. Like even McIntyre's getting up there.
Sure.
Yeah. So they have.
So you have to find these new people. Like Tiffy is going to be like even Rhea at this point. She's not old, but she's not new either. So like Tiffy will be the new face of the precipice of a new wave of era of wrestlers that are coming in. I'm trying to think of like who it is on the men's side. It's probably Dom. Dom is your new face. I want to be generation
too. Like I don't like everything that's going on, like in WWE as far as storyline, but that's okay because around it, I feel this positive energy of they know what they're doing. So I may not like who goes over in every match. I may not like they should push Jay differently. They should make Jay have more balls. I firmly believe that. Cody should be have a little bit more bite to him. Whatever. But you also have to think
maybe Cody should show up. I mean, he's been gone.
Yeah, and look at a year ago. You have Roman Reigns and Cody are not here right now. Like so it's like they were last year.
How do you not anticipate a little bit of a downturn when those two are gone?
Yeah,
they're not.
They put all their marbles in John Cena's basket, and I've said that I think John Cena's heel turn's boring, and I think it's definitely not doing. It's not turning people away, but it's not spiking people like it should. The business, and so I do agree with that. However,
one of our colleagues said that they think John Cena is lying about him not being done at the end of the year. I'm like, no, he's done. This whole run has proved that he's done.
A wrestler not retiring when he says he's going to is more of a groan than it is like a way to increase business. So they're not going to do that. John Cena's done. Like he's going to leave. Like that might be it. And he already said too.
The greatest thing about his run is that if people are going to anticipate who takes him down right on his way out. If somebody will take him down for that title.
If he re-revolutionized the business or whatever, and like it was on fire and it was bigger than the Bloodline business right now, then I think that it would be fair to say John Cena might say, you know what, I'm feeling so good right now. I'm going to go ahead and extend my retirement to next year's WrestleMania. I want to see someone take this off me. That might be fair if they do something like that.
I mean, I would argue too, Jess, if you anticipated a downturn, a John Cena heel turn is the greatest way to pad that downturn.
Yeah. Because and people fail to think that too. What if they're actually prepping for a downturn because they know it's coming? And I don't mean downturn again, 1995 business or anything like that. I'm just saying
you're gonna not break records for a while.
You know that the Bloodline storyline's over, and you know that all those principal players are not around right now. So you got to get Jay over. You got to get Braun Breaker over. You got to get Gunther over. You got to get all these other people over.
And by the way,
you got to get
that faction with Seth is gonna be on fire. That's lovely stuff.
You got to get Io Sky over. You got to do a lot of different things like right now, and they're doing it. And just be fucking patient. Like Jesus Christ,
Io Sky is the best wrestler in the world.
I guarantee you listen to any of Vince Russo's individual podcasts or that joke of a podcast we just saw or whatever. They never say anything positive ever about anything. Like ever.
I don't know who watches it, let alone donates $15, bro.
bro.
But anyway, we'll leave it there.
But
we'll leave it there.
We did an hour by ourselves, Dave. We had a lot of.
Hey
material.
man, I thought we did pretty good. I loved your.
I'm going to go on to say that the rest of the cast members suck, and we did the greatest episode of Unscripted history. So I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. And while I say that, I'm going to end it before I get any feedback. For Dave and Jess, this has been Unscripted because I can't do the live stream O.W.P thing because it's not live stream. So I'll take Craig's. We'll see you at the matches.
At the matches. Love it.